So you still find us live in the third and final hour of the show. Lebogang the man is here, and Lebogang is coming through as an author just to help us make sense of his book. He has this book in his hand, and I was telling him that the cover is what you tend to recognize first, and then you'll go into the contents of the book. But trust me, it's a beautiful book. It's a survival guide. More than anything else, in terms of Lebo sharing his vulnerability here, but also at the same time, just moving to help us navigate some of these issues that may seem complex, at the same time, may seem familiar for a lot of people, but you find them trying to find a way to move in this space and find meaning here. So it's our literature corner, and this morning would like to hear from you on the other side as well on 0861 987 000. They're on X, we go by at ParFM 987 at Katlego Legodi _ Lebo. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm okay, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
So this man came here bearing gifts as well. You know what I mean? He's brought us an energy drink, and I'm thinking, if I take this, and then I won't sleep. It means my day has started in a way. But people will tell you that your day starts. Immediately when you hear us talking to you, it means your day has started as well.
Basically, I mean, my day started when I got the invite from you guys. So I'm totally excited. So I thought, hey, have a Kit Kat, have a break, you know what I mean? So 100%. I just thought about you, so thought that maybe you might need something.
Man, and you are here so early as well. I really appreciate you honoring the invite as well and coming into the studio.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor.
Is it Pariah?
It's from popular to Pariah.
Pariah.
Yeah, so Pariah
so
meaning...
the second one was right.
So Pariah basically meaning an outcast. Yeah, an outcast.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful, from popular to Pariah.
Yeah.
So this man then gives us a sense already that this is a gentleman that might have been popular somewhat, and then he found himself as an outcast
basically
through the experiences in the workplace.
Basically.
Your book focuses on bullying in the workplace. That is actually the overarching theme of how it flows, and you tend to give us your experiences as well. So this morning I want us to go into it, and you give us a sense of how you found yourself navigating this space, what led you to penning your experiences, but at the same time, what you'd like for us to take away from this moment, this book as well, going into the future. I've already categorized it as a survival guide, because you're here.
Basically.
This says to us that
I survived it.
On the other side.
I'm on the other
side.
You
know what I mean?
I'm on the other side.
So it's really amazing that you're able to share your experiences as well. And your vulnerabilities, because sometimes we tend to bottle these things, right? Especially as men, you don't want to come across as if you're weak or something is taken away from you. You put on this facade of strength.
That's right.
Even when inside it's a bit of a tricky one. But let's talk about your book. From popular to Pariah, and start also with the cover as well, because one would say the cover speaks volumes in terms of explaining to you and giving you a sense of the contents of this book. Let's start there. You are a new author because I guess experience has pushed you into this space. Have you always wanted to write? Have you always had this thing of books? Has literature always been your thing? And how did you come up then with that cover?
So first of all, I would just like to thank my publisher, Lizelle Kotsia. I think working with her was just amazing. But then to answer your question as well, I've always thought about writing a book because I'm always expressive, and I think that's been one thing that has guided me through my life. I'm able to express myself, and obviously when I went through what I went through, and after surviving what I went through, I said to myself, I had this idea 3 years ago. Someone gave it to me 3 years ago, but I was like, maybe I'm not that brave to write about this. So I decided to, I think last year when I was going through the most, difficult time, there was a time where it was on my birthday, and then I took sleeping tablets. I think I took about 3 sleeping tablets after a night out, and then obviously I was intoxicated, and then I overdosed with my sleeping tablets, and then I realized that I can't hide this from myself anymore. I used to hide it from people. I used to be strong. I used to be brave, and no one would see anything. until it got to a point where I couldn't hide it from myself anymore. Then I said, you know what, I need to actually sit down and find some healing. And ever since I started writing, I've been feeling way better. This year's been a good year, actually, because of this book. Yeah.
Tell us about it. Take us through, this space that you find yourself navigating. I mean, one would say you come into the workplace, you apply for a job, and you go into it with so much expectations, and you go into it with excitement to say, my life is starting.
Yes.
You're not, in any way anticipating stumbling blocks or anything that can take away from that moment. But you found yourself navigating crossroads pertaining to the workplace, and bullying was at the center of it. Tell us about it here,
Yes.
Lebo.
So in the book, I did mention that I was privileged enough to go to good schools. My mom and dad were able to provide me with that opportunity. So I didn't know bullying. I didn't know what bullying looks like. And then I got into the workspace, and as I got into the workspace, obviously I'm excited, I want to prove myself, and then bullying comes in a way that is very subtle, So I thought, hey, what can I do to improve my work? What can I do to improve my situation at work? All of those things. But however, the manager had a different attitude towards me. And I saw that by, number one, exclusion of some activities at work. I saw that, by, number two, by how my colleagues how I felt isolated from my colleagues. And then it was shocking for me because of, one, it was a woman that was doing this to me, and I was raised by a widow, I was raised by 4 aunts as well. So I know how to protect women. I don't know how to defend myself against a woman, and I found myself in that space where now I felt like good men are being left behind, right? Because of now you got to navigate around the situation of now a woman being in authority, and now she's finding herself to lead in a non-aggressive manner, and she's finding it difficult as well because she wants to prove herself. But then, she was coming hard on me, and then in the beginning, there was an agenda. But after that agenda she did not achieve that agenda. God was able to sustain me, and protect me. However, the fight between her to me, it became very personal. And obviously now I struggle from a lot of anxieties at work. I mean, there's some listeners right now that maybe might be facing the same thing. They are unable to sleep. So now they're full of anxieties, knowing that I've got to go into that working space. I've got to now survive the day. And what happens with anxieties is that you start feeling incompetent, even though you know the work, but you start feeling like you can't do the work. You start having anxieties of sleeping, for example. You start having disorders of sleeping, for example. And then also another thing is that, you start having social anxieties as well. So another anxieties that you start having is a spiritual anxiety, right? So let's say you and I, we don't come from the same spiritual, platform, and another person comes from another spiritual one, and then you think, oh my gosh, okay, if this person can't get me mentally, they'll try to get me spiritually. So you start having a lot of anxieties, and you start feeling a bit, nothing's going right in life. And sadly, the bullying happened when I was so excited about life. You get into
your prime.
I mean, for me, it lasted about 4 years. So you get into a space where you feel, okay, you're passionate about this industry. You want to make a change, and you're full of fire. And all of a sudden, you start hating the industry. You start hating your work. You
start hating yourself.
You start hating yourself
because you're asking us to. Is there something different here? Is it the way I wear my tie? Is it the way the anxiety as well? You're forever on your toes, and this then would have an impact on your performance as well in the workplace.
Basically, so now you start changing how you dress, because of, as you wake up in the morning, you're like, I want to go back to sleep. You know what I mean? Am I really? You driving to work, you taking your time to get to work. When you get to work, the first thing you think about is, what am I gonna knock off? Because you're thinking, if this bully has a way with me, I might lose my job. And also another thing, one thing I've learned about the situation is that HR is literally the heart of the organization. And if HR is not passionate about their work, it becomes a problem for those that actually, for the new interns, and for those that actually have to survive around the workplace. Because of what happens normally is that if maybe your manager is so influential that she can actually tap into HR. By the time that you actually lodge a grievance, you find that it's already tampered with because of now you've got nowhere to run. You know, you find that maybe this person knows this person, and then your email, before it gets to whoever it needs to get to, it's already, put aside. Basically, by the time that you come there, people have prepared. So you find yourself in a place where there's you don't know where to go, you don't know where to run, and you don't know what to do, And for me, at that specific point, I realized that the only thing that I can do is pray. Because I know that I'm a firm believer that God will always send help, God will always send someone. So luckily there was someone that came into the picture that was able to restructure things in the department. So I found myself in a better working space, basically.
Sure, but one thing that matters is that you stayed the course. For some people, it can be so easy. You can be crushed and pushed into a corner, in a point, way that you can end up even giving up on the career, throwing everything away because of this particular individual, where you get a sense of the manipulation that it's becoming a lot. You know what I mean? That this is, having somewhat of a psychological impact on how you view life. That there is this warfare that you're navigating as you try to show up every day and be productive. So it's not serving you. Instead, it's taking away from you, which is why then you find that the people would, in any way, not everyone would be welcoming to handling the workplace dynamics in that sense. Hence, you hear others saying, nah, I don't even give myself years at a company. I am there to move. I will check. If it doesn't serve me, you move. But in this economy, not everyone has that opportunity to be able to chop and change and be moving because, in any way, I'm not finding favor with my senior. But I love the fact that the best thing that could happen is the restructuring. You moving to another department, you having another, someone that you report to, another line manager, in a way that you avoid this person altogether. As all of these issues are playing themselves out, you say that HR was not there in a way that they could come through for you, because one would say recourse in the workplace would be going to HR, but sometimes also this bullying is not that pronounced, in a way that everyone would be, it's not clear. It's not as clear. So only you can see it. You know what I mean? The sidelining, you pick it up. So it's not clear. So it becomes hard for you to even document it in a way that you'll have a solid case to take to HR. Was that your experience as well?
I think that was the defense of the bully as well. So what you would say normally is that out of 30 people that I have to manage, you're the only one that's complaining.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then but 29 people are not complaining, But just because they're not complaining does not mean they're not happy, So I think for me, where everything changed was that when I kept going, normally bullies they're not as clever as what we think, right? They start becoming arrogant, and you know what happens when you become arrogant. You know what I mean? You start making mistakes. So then I realized, so the bully is not as strong as I thought. You know what I mean? And then I kept going. I think one person told me, you gotta stop being reactive and start being proactive. You know what I mean? And then I didn't know what that meant at that time. And then now what I did is that I went to go read more on policies, read more on procedures. And then when the bully came, because they tried to manipulate, they tried to change the organization to what fits them, right? Yeah. So then eventually what happened is that when she would say something and then I would say, but no, this is not according to policy, then I would frustrate the bully. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to say your story.
I know my story. And then she would now be frustrated because I would be challenging her in a meeting. And then afterwards I know, okay, now she's really coming for me, but because of now she's really coming for me, I'm expecting her to make a mistake. And eventually as time went on and I found out that no, but you know what, she's now now becoming desperate. You know what I mean? And that's when people said, hey, something's up here, something's wrong, because of normally a bully, you'd find that they would travel all the way and skip all their pay grades to get to you. You know what I mean? And already that shouldn't be the order because of the protocol.
The line managers, and it moves.
The first mistake that she made, I was supposed to have come to work on Monday, but I got a sick note on Friday. I told my team leader. She wasn't aware, so she was trying to punish me from to come to work, right? So eventually it was work from home. That's when it was starting. And then after when she saw that I didn't come to work, and then I was booked off for 3 days. And then eventually she wrote an email, CC'd HR, CC'd all the bosses. If you don't report, if you don't tell me where were you today, unfortunately I will have to report you to HR, and I will have to, for abscondment, basically. And then I just attached the letter from Friday from my team leader saying, I've got a sick note. Here's a sick note. And then now everyone started to see, but
She's like, why?
Why are you going to
that lens?
Yeah, why are you going straight there? Why couldn't you go to your line manager? Why couldn't you go to your team leader?
Ask as to where's Lebo?
Where's Lebo? You come to Mr. and you CC'd everyone. So she sent me an email on about 5:12. I then sent that email. And eventually she responded at 9 o'clock to defend herself and justify that when I send you an email as the manager, I expect you to respond and I don't consider other people. I'm like, okay.
No. That is not the way. But one wonders as to, I love the fact that you found solace in prayer, and then you went, at length to ensure that you capacitate yourself, you research and you read and the likes. What would be your advice to those that are just joining the workplace? Because we don't actually get prepared in university for this. Even at home, you're saying you were raised by women. You don't get prepared, to meet someone like that. And it's easy then for someone to give up. To give in, to think that this is the way to go. This person is asking me to make coffee for them every day in the morning. This is not what I'm here for, or this person is asking for the impossible, or this person is basically pushing me in a way, putting so much pressure on me. And trying to get a reaction of some sort, and you're busy navigating it with so much grace. But what would be your advice to that young person? What is it that they get from the book, that would say to them that this should be your guide? This is the do's, these are the don'ts, and in any way, you can never maybe in any way prepare yourself for such, because personalities at the same time, but disappointing would be the fact that this is done by a woman.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. No, I think just to answer your question, so for me personally, I know that in work situations, there are dynamics, right, and politics. So you find that sometimes it's easier acting in a permanent position as opposed to acting in a permanent position, because of obviously now you would do anything for your job, and with the unemployment rate that we have, people are scared to stand up for themselves. So I totally understand that. But I think what I would advise people to do is that, number one, don't give the bully so much power.
Yeah.
If first of all, if someone walks all over you with one thing, they will come again and they will do it. So don't create a culture where when you see something wrong and you're like, maybe it was just that thing. Let me let it go. No, noted. Think about it. And then if they come again, that's when you can now start attending to say, listen, I've noted the first incident you did ABC, and the second time you did ABC. How can we manage the situation? So number one, don't keep something to yourself, because if you allow things to pile up, and by when you allow things to pile up, by the time that you actually want to raise your concerns, you're gonna now come with all this, you're starting there, emotional, and all of those things. You know what I mean? So a person should know that they shouldn't treat you like that in the first place, and you don't like how you were treated. And then how can you resolve it? So you're not fighting with the person, but you're trying to reach out to saying, I don't like how you treated me, politely so, Number two, don't rely on because of now, in our workspaces, we find you call someone leadership, boss, so, and then now what you're doing is that you're creating a superior and inferior, situation, if I'm Mr. Setumo, call me Mr. Setumo, because of now what happens is that you start relying on what I say and not what the policy says.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's number two. Read more on policies, read more on procedures. Number three, one thing I would say as well, more importantly, don't isolate yourself. There is help in the organization. The organization is not bad. Someone has to be there to listen to you. So, but once you start isolating yourself, then you're actually giving the bully the power, because they're going to see you isolated. They're going to see you now you are drowning, and they're going to say, and when they see you drowning and they see you isolated, you know what they do? They go for more. They go for more until you resign or you break down. That's what they do. So never isolate yourself. Always document every single thing, every move you make, just document it. So by the time that it comes, a friend of mine told me that make sure that a neutral person, just by looking, they can already see what's happening. You know what I mean? So that's what I would advise people. Like, document everything and then never isolate yourself. Always read procedures and don't worship people.
Know your story.
Know your story. Because of, you know why? You lose yourself, man.
Yeah.
You lose yourself. But if you read this book, it
should help you.
It will help you from popular to pariah. It will help you.
Are you back in the popular space?
It's very difficult because of, it's recovery is a journey.
Oh, yeah.
Recovering is a journey. And then it's only now I'm realizing what this has taken away from me. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to get it back slowly but surely. I'm trying to smile again. You know what I mean? Because she took my smile. I'm trying to not to be socially aggressive because of she made me become socially aggressive. You know what I mean? Everything that I see now, I'm now defensive. And with my family, I'm now defensive with everything because of I'm expecting an attack everywhere I go. Because remember, I spent like 8 hours Monday to Friday looking for an attack, and I'm ready to and it happens. You wait now, even if when you enter into a relationship, you expect someone to attack you.
You're on a defense.
You're on a defense.
There's a wall of some sort.
There's a wall of some sort.
People don't understand as to what's up with this one now.
But I was brave to write this book, honestly. I had to be really, really, really vulnerable and honest. When you read it, you will understand how honest I had to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
we really, really appreciate that because I think that is what people would relate to, your honesty.
Yes.
And you being able to take it there. There are certain things, like I said, that people don't want to talk about, and you feel like you are going at it alone. And like you said, there are high chances of you isolating yourself, resigning, and just in any way, getting frustrated, anxieties and mental health issues that would play themselves out. But I appreciate the fact that you are a person that prays, and even in that journey of healing, just place that prayer at the center. And I'm hoping that next time when we speak to you, you'll be telling us about having written from Pariah to popular. There's that opportunity.
No. I hear you.
Because it's a journey.
It's a journey.
I love the fact that you've started.
No,
they
100%.
always say start.
100%.
I mean?
And check. Ever since I wrote, I've been. So far about, a lot of copies have been sold.
Nice.
And I'm also meeting some people like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm finding myself. I'm finding the joy. So one thing I'll tell any person that's listening that wants to resign, don't resign. You know what I mean? Don't resign. Don't quit. You know what I mean? Don't quit. Eventually the truth comes out, and eventually if you are in the right, and we're not saying like if you are being, because there's a difference between being a bully and a leader, and you should know the difference, So you should know when you're being led, and you should know when you're being bullied. You know what I mean? So, and obviously I'm not saying because of I don't want to be led. No, I want to be led as well. You know what I mean? So there's a difference. But don't resign, don't quit. Go look for help. Go look for someone that can guide you through the process. Go read the policies and the procedures. But whatever you do, don't give someone that much power. You deserve to be there. Yeah, you deserve to be there. You
don't
deserve
lose yourself.
Yeah, don't lose yourself. You deserve to smile. You deserve to be there, and you deserve to seek answers. Why is this happening to me? You know what I mean? So never isolate yourself because of
well said.
Yeah.
Lebo, we're out of time, man. Time
are we out of time?
Time really flies. But I'm
having fun,
Look, I love the fact that you are here. You came into the studio, and you are one person that is just looking forward to what life then would present as we go into the future. And this guide, where do we get it? How do we direct people your way in terms of getting their hands on the book?
So I made it easier for people where they have to just go to www.lebogangsetumo.com.
Awesome.
And then there it's my website. It gives you the summary of the book. At the bottom there's a link where it says buy a copy, and you buy yourself a copy, and then they from the printers, and then they bring the copy to you wherever you placed your address at. So it's very easy. People from Pietermaritzburg have gotten the book. People from Cape Town have already gotten the book, and there was no it was an easy process.
Awesome, man. And on social media, who are you?
On social media, you just find me on Instagram, Lebogang Setumo Lebogang, and you also find me on Facebook, Lebogang Setumo, and then that's the two. so far.
Awesome. Lebo, thank you very much for coming through, for the book, for the vulnerability as well, and for the guide in terms of navigating this workplace bullying. It is a thing.
Yes.
And we hear that your story is not isolated. So I'm encouraging people to go out there to get their hands on the book so they can learn how to navigate this bullying in the workplace, because
100%.
it is a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's a real
But we
thing.
really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
I had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Author
Yeah.
Lebogang Setumo just helping us wrap up the show there with his book, From Popular to Pariah. Just go onto his website, www.lebogangsetumo.com, and that's where you'll get all of the details around how to get the book. We're out of time, but Power Up is next. Let's touch base again tomorrow. Thank you very much to everybody that joined in on our social corner, but also